What is up, basketball fans? This is Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, brought to you by Big City Wings. Shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's wing joint, Apollo's wing joint. Go check out their daily specials each and every day. They have 13 locations across the Houston area. Shout out to Big City Wings for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to Celebrity Mint. Go check out celebritymint.com to see their graded legal tender collectibles, Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and more at celebritymint.com. Thank you all for sponsoring this episode. I am joined by the What We Learned Houston Rockets edition king, Josh Garcia. How we doing, bud?
Great, man. My Liverpool squad just got 1/3 of the European treble. Feeling great. I'm not a casual. I love my team. Will always love my team. You got some soccer in you this weekend. Love the hat.
I did.
How was the spread looking like? What are we talking here?
If you don't already know, we at Apollo Media cover FC Dallas and the Houston Dynamo and Dash squads. So go follow Apollo Media at Apollo HOU on Twitter. And on Instagram as well. You can see all the Houston stuff. You can follow me at Apollo Stoney for the FC Dallas shindig. But yeah, the boys in Houston, they covered the Dynamo game. I don't know what their spread was like, but our spread was I'd say underwhelming for the first game. It was opening night for MLS. If you're not familiar, Messi League Soccer, as they call it. It's like baked chicken with some kind of cream sauce on it. It was fine. It was fine. I had a salad with it. They also had bolognese as another option. But at halftime, I sent you a picture of the hot dog that FC Dallas has.
Oh yeah,
it's a 12-inch hot dog with obviously a hot dog, brisket, crispy onions, jalapenos, and maybe chili. I don't know. There's a lot of things on it. At halftime, they brought out miniature versions of that for the press box. So
nice.
The press box got to indulge in it. I don't know how much it costs, the actual 12-inch one, but yeah, I was at the FC Dallas game last night. They victorious in the 94th minute, so undefeated in 2024. Not a big deal. Yeah. That was talking soccer, as they say. Buddy, was there an event? Was it last night or the night before? I think it was last night.
The night before. Yeah. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, I think it was the night before.
Are we talking about Miami and New Orleans?
Of course.
All right. There was a fight. And if you're an NBA fan, you love fights, even though it's not a part of the game in any way, shape, or form. If your brain was developing around the same time mine was, Malice at the Palace was a huge deal. Like 2003, right? Like ESPN just shut down for an entire week. That's all they could talk about, which is kind of the same thing, but more like a 24-hour circus now. Right. It was a whole week of Malice at the Palace, Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, all of those things. This was not the same extent in any way, shape, or form, but it was probably the best NBA fight that we've had in about a year. Isaiah Stewart running at LeBron James last season was incredible, with just blood pouring down his eyeball. But
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What's his nuts from New Orleans? He just grabbed Jimmy Butler's throat. Just full on grabbed his throat right on the trachea. I don't really know what was happening. Can you walk me through? Because I didn't get to watch the game. Sure. I don't remember what I was doing, but
yeah. So immediately you had Najee Marshall, I believe that's his name. Okay. I think Kevin Love gave a Najee Marshall a tough foul, kind of a grab across the stomach, big 360, get up, get down. Sure. Yeah. They didn't like it. They didn't like the hard foul. And, Marshall took exception. Jimmy Butler gets in the mix, gets a big shove in the back.
He does.
And all hell breaks loose. And a great quote tweet that I saw was this New Orleans Pelicans fan with a CJ McCollum jersey on just throws anything he could find at anyone that would look in his direction or feel what he was throwing. And a coach or an assistant or somebody on the squad, a trainer, I don't care who it was, I believe it was the Heat squad, just throws it right back in his face. So it was kind of a miniature Malice in the Palace with the fan being involved and stuff like that. Awfully recorded video, though. I'm talking, you can only see this on the YouTube version, but his phone was like this, and it was just getting thrown everywhere. And awful quality. It was
it's good.
It was insane. But of course the broadcast angle was great. You got to see everything. And of course that's what we're really looking for. And that was one of the better fights I've definitely seen this year. But Najee Marshall just am I even getting his name right? I couldn't tell you.
Does it matter?
But hey, he partook in one of the greatest fights that we've seen in a very long time, and
He did.
props to him for sure. I loved it.
Yeah, love a good NBA fight. Have you ever been to the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans?
No, I have not.
Not a bad arena. I,
Streets
I've
are
been
saying,
once. It's really not that bad. Everyone shits on it because it's like the attendance isn't as big because they don't have as many seats. I mean, it's only by like I think it's 18,000 or high seven like 17,900 or something like that, which
yeah,
isn't
that's normal.
roughly. I mean, it's the bottom half of the league, but like
Yeah,
it's an average. It's within the median, I
yeah,
guess, essentially, is of
right,
NBA arenas. Like you're not getting many more than 20,000, maybe 22 if you're like Madison Square Garden, but whatever.
right.
Not a bad arena. So I would be very intrigued to like have been in the arena. I have friends that are fans of the New Orleans Pelicans that go to games all the time. So I need to reach out to them, see their perspective of the game because my buddy he gave out tickets to that game, so he had like a whole just roll of tickets, like 20, 30 tickets, maybe a whole section. I don't remember. Um, with his company, he gave them away to people, and they were in his section that he has season tickets in. So I need to ask him and see what was going on there.
Yeah, yeah. What
It's
are your
very
thoughts?
intriguing. Jimmy
Gotta ask
Butler and
everybody.
Nikola Jokic also 1 game suspension. I don't remember what. I didn't see what New Orleans players
Yeah,
got, but
when you think of the Malice in the Palace, remember the 82 game suspensions that were being handed out. Do you think we'll
yeah,
ever see anything like that again, unless it's like maybe PEDs or a
OJ Mayo.
long drawn out court case or something like that? It all, like I said, it reminded me of like a miniature version of that. But you know, I definitely want to do, going back to what you said. I want to see the Smoothie King Center from my eyes.
Mhm.
People call it the Blender, allegedly. I
Yeah,
think that's a great name.
that's pretty
Awesome name.
sick. That's
That's fucking
awesome.
awesome. But yeah, I'm a short 5 hour drive, 4 and 30 if you really push to the limit from
Yeah.
New Orleans here in West Side Houston. But I'd love to see a Rockets game out there. No, maybe minus the fights. I don't care for fights in person. I've always been a boxing guy, not an MMA guy. You know, I'm still
Okay.
just a soft guy to the core. You know, I can only handle
Sure.
so much fights. You know, I like the ballerina style instead of the hands to the face and kill somebody style. You know, and
Yeah, and
that's what that fight felt like to me.
this fight had nothing on this new guy that plays for the New York Rangers. This rookie that's 6'7" just comes in and fights everybody. He has more penalty minutes served than he has minutes played in games so far in the
By a
past
far
week. It's
margin.
awesome. He came in the Winter Classic the week before. Just was like, yeah, let's throw some hands. This is fun.
Love it.
You want to fight, bud? Yeah, it's great. Basketball players have nothing on pretty much any other sport
Hmm.
in fighting.
Hmm.
Like just they're tall and lanky and sometimes awkward. Like imagine Victor Wembanyama getting in a fight, his forearm just breaks in 3 pieces.
Oh man, Victor Wembanyama with 30 pounds of muscle. I'm talking top 3 next year immediately.
But yeah, we had a fight in the NBA. Fights in the NBA are always fun, so we had to point it out.
Yeah,
Speaking of Victor Wembanyama,
sure.
he's an alien, just
Count 'em.
an absolute alien. Wembanyama and LeBron both posted pictures of both of them on the court on the same time on Friday night, with the caption like the alien emoji times king emoji, like the crown emoji or whatever, and then they did it backwards for the other guy. Um, we're only talking about this because he did something that's only been done 15 times, or
Yeah, I
by
think I
15
you know.
different players, I think, in
And
the history of the
Hakeem,
NBA.
I was gonna say if we're gonna go on based on times here, I'm sure Hakeem has probably done it like at least 4 times.
So it's
But
15 players.
you're looking at something that's maybe done once a decade, almost twice a decade. Like this is serious shit. And I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how many times Wilt did it either. But you know, stats weren't counted like that back then.
So he had a, what do you call this, a quintuple nickel,
Yeah,
5x5.
5 by 5,
Yeah.
dude.
So
The
he had
man.
27 points, 5 blocks, 5 steals, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds in 31 minutes against the Los Angeles Lakers that do have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are
Yeah,
not bad players. Anthony Davis, incredible defensive player, like
yeah,
very good. People always vote for him for defensive player of the year preseason, and then he just doesn't play enough games or doesn't play well enough for
yeah.
65 games to do it. Um, yeah, no, he's a freak. He's disgusting. And then he had like a Space Jam dunk before All-Star break. Like it wasn't a dunk, but it was almost a dunk. He was probably like 6 inches off from touching the rim with his
Oh,
middle finger.
well,
He's a freak. He's
dude.
incredible.
oh my god, every single time I watch the man play, it's like we were talking about kind of reverse Tom Thibodeau vibes with Popovich.
Yeah.
He's given Sochan and Vassell like 30, 33 minutes, but Wemby's on a 27, 25 to 28 minute percentage or minute
Hmm.
kind of restriction. So when I saw him kind of, and again, this goes back to efficiency and kind of overall like usage. Wemby's not the most efficient player, but of course that goes back into shooting 25, 30% from three. Once he figures
Yeah.
that out and can start moving like KD, because he will, like you already kind of see the prototype developing in front of our eyes. And of course, this might be a recycled tweet at this point, but this is the worst that we'll ever see Victor Wembanyama. He's going to continuously make strides. I was talking to you off air about Şengün shooting up 3 threes tonight. You know, that Wembanyama starts shooting 5 threes a game. Oh my God, what are we talking about? And making three of them,
Yeah.
dude. Top three center in the league with by year two, by mid year two. Like this is just different. No words.
Yeah. It's very rare that we see a player win like rookie of the year and then automatically the second year is like first team All NBA.
Yeah,
I would not be shocked if Victor Wembanyama is first team All NBA because one, Nikola Jokic does not care. So like, if he doesn't get it, he doesn't care. He's not going to try to get extra incentives.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't. It doesn't matter. He's going to be paid a lot of money regardless if he's first, second, or third team. Embiid obviously can't stay healthy enough to get post game or post season awards. Obviously, he won the MVP last season, but that was his one healthy year, really. And I think
Yeah,
he barely snuck by. Did he have 67, 69 games, something like that?
it was
Like he
close. Yeah,
didn't hit it by a lot. Like he snuck on by, and he had his healthiest season in his NBA career. So like he's probably, and you could honestly put him at power forward, and now it's positionless, so it doesn't even matter, right? They're just putting
exactly.
5 players on the board. Yeah, we're looking at a Luka situation, a LeBron situation, where they're first team All NBA just second year in because they needed a year to kind of figure things out. When you put up a 5x5 in 31 minutes with 27 points on what 15 shots, 16 shots,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It,
I
it
mean
was it was pretty efficient, like for what it was. I mean,
he's
like
good.
I said, and I hate to dwell, but it's when I'm dwelling on lack of great efficiency. Sometimes it's more so because I see the light at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Once Wemby kind of starts making those shots, starts kind of spacing the floor more, and actually like I don't see him crash the paint. You know what I mean?
No,
If he gets some muscle, because there are some games you see where he'll get 2, 4, 6 rebounds. And you're just like, dude, you're 7'4". Like you can't get 10 of them a game.
Kristaps
He averages,
Porzingis.
yeah, he averages 10 a game. But I'm saying like there's going to be more consistency to his game as the years go on, as the months go on. But just seeing it as raw and unfiltered as we're seeing it right now, it's almost a blessing, man. Like seeing a
Yeah,
5x5, it's almost like you don't have much to compare it to because we see triple doubles not all the time anymore. I mean, of course, we might get a couple a week, maybe one a night on a good week. But man, 5x5, what shit? This is just different. Guy's
yeah.
different.
Wimby is very much in his Kristaps Porzingis trying to figure it out
Yeah,
stage where
right.
I mean he's already averaging 10 rebounds a game, so it's like it's not the same comparison. But Kristaps before he got to Washington, like I don't know what it was, he just couldn't box people out and he couldn't get rebounds. Like I think he only averaged 6.5, 7, maybe
Yeah,
7.5 rebounds a game, and he's 7'3". He's always the tallest guy on the court. You would think he would be able to grab the most rebounds. But that's also because he's not the center on the court. He was playing power
right.
forward and he's in different positions.
He's
I think
leaking
Wimby's going
out.
to have a lot of that as well,
Right,
where he's not going
right.
to be the center necessarily. So he's not going to have to be in the post guarding the post. He might be on the perimeter guarding, double teaming because he can double team and also guard his player at the exact same time because he's freakishly long.
Oh yeah.
Um, not a Wimby thing, but Trae Young has a hurt finger, I believe, and is
Yes.
gone. He's down for 4 weeks. I think they're going to be reevaluating him in 4 weeks, I think is what it was. It's the beginning of the end of Trae Young in Atlanta, and the only possible place for him to
Mm,
go is San Antonio. And I hate it. Hate
yep.
every second of it because now it's not going to be a Hawks Mavericks rivalry. It's really going to be Mavericks Spurs again because it's
Oh
the Trey
no.
versus Luca thing and also the Texas
Oh
rivalry. It's coming back, and Trae Young is going to be a Spur next season, and I just hate every second of it because they have assets because they don't. This draft sucks. They're just like, yeah, sure, you can have the first round pick. You can have next year's too. I don't care. I have Victor Wembanyama. It's
yep.
gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
Dude, the Spurs are so they're levels beyond mid, but there's just such a just an excitement, a feeling of just euphoria when you see Victor Wembanyama play. And once he kind of gets out of the, I don't want to say gets out of the minutes restriction, but if he's playing 35 minutes a game and he's putting up 25 consistently, oh my god, it's over, dude. And I would
He's
hate,
gross.
going back to what you said almost about the not the I-45, but the Texas rivalry. I would
Yep,
hate for the Rockets to become Lil Bro in this situation, but all the cards are making it look out to be that way, and I hate that it's that because Trey
yeah,
Young going to the Spurs would see an immediate swing. I mean, assuming they make a
for
decent
sure.
draft splash, or if they trade their picks and get rid of some,
They still have cap
dogs.
space, even if they get Trey.
Yeah, yeah. Like if they can restrict Jeremy Sohan and make Vassell more efficient,
Trade them
they
all.
they have they
Just
have
trade them
no
all.
they have no guard play. You have Sohan playing point guard
Yeah,
for a lot of minutes
it's been a
throughout the season.
disaster.
Trey Jones, I think he might be hurt at the moment, but he stinks overall. Respectfully,
Hmm.
you're dude. Texas basketball might be back after this year. Like truly, I can't wait.
And this is no slight on Alperen Şengün. We love Alperen Şengün here at Apollo Media and here on this podcast. I like him. I don't. I just would like to have a full Texas beef with each team. Like
Yes,
I would love for every team to hate. I know Rockets fans, I think, hate Dallas fans more than Dallas fans hate Houston's fans
sure.
or their team. Like I just every time we play the Rockets, they're like, playing the Rockets.
We don't care
We hate the
anymore.
Spurs more than we hate the Rockets. I wish
Sure.
all three Texas teams hated each other equally, where there was just an equal amount of hate every time one of the teams played against each other or one of the teams loses like a game against a bad team and we're just like shitting on them all the time. I want
Yeah.
that kind of rivalry to happen. And this is no slight on Şengün, but unfortunately for the Rockets, they have the third best superstar on their team out of the three Texas teams
Right. Right.
in the future. Obviously, Wemby's not all the way there yet, but I'm pretty sure the beginning of next season, everyone's gonna be like, "Yeah, I would rather have Wemby over Şengün,"
Oh
and that's
yeah.
not a
Yeah.
slight to Şengün. It's just that
No,
Wemby
not at
is
all.
a generational freak of nature that we may never see again, and Luka Doncic is on Dallas. Like
Two
he's
generational
been a
guys.
first team All NBA player since his second year in the league, and it's not
Oh
gonna
yeah.
stop anytime soon. Like he's gonna get
Mhm.
it again this year. So I don't know. Sucks for the Rockets, but also the Rockets also have a coach. They have a depth thing. They could get there quickly if they do the right things this offseason, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully, we keep a coach and we make some things happen that need to happen. I'm
Yeah.
so it's sad because I'll watch Rockets games and my heart just has not been in it. Even when we beat the Suns the other night, just like, man, would it feel better to just tank and sit this one out and hope for a chance at a top four pick? So
I
OKC
mean,
doesn't
you
get our pick.
tried.
I,
You
dude,
tried to give that game away at the end. I watched the last minute or two. It was brutal.
KD, yeah, KD pump faking on the free throw.
Yeah.
What? What are we
Yeah,
talking
I don't
about
know.
here?
That
What
was
are
a
we
weird thing.
doing?
But yeah, make Texas
Uh,
basketball great again. Let's just get
please,
some hatred pumped in there. Let's get some rivalries going. And when we get to rivalry week, it's the Suns and the Mavericks, and then the Mavericks versus the Texas teams. Those are the only
yes,
rivalries that matter to me. I don't know which ones matter to you, but the Texans team, all Texas teams have to play each other in rivalry week.
please,
I can get rid of
please.
the Suns one because now Devin Booker and Luka like each other, I think, or friendly with each other in the last game this past week on
Corny,
Thursday, where
corny.
the Mavericks demolished the Phoenix Suns. Won't let that one go. But
People forget.
yeah, rivalry week. Three Texas teams, they play against each other. Let's call it a day. Each team gets 2 games during rivalry week. Make Texas basketball great again. What
Please, it's
what's
it's
stopping us,
already on the
Adam?
cusp. Yeah,
What's
dude.
stopping us, Adam?
Exactly. It's already on the cusp of happening, and we're kind of just awaiting the inevitable at this point. I really hope that Şengün develops into a fraction of what Wembanyama can or what Luca has already become. Because you get a top three center on your team, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's the glue right there. That's almost your quarterback.
Yeah,
See, that's your fucking free safety. No, Amen Thompson is our free safety. I love that. We were just talking about pre-show. He's shooting 11% from three this month. Very limited attempts,
yeah,
but
yeah.
what he's almost a quicker, more enjoyable Draymond Green in regards to defense vibes.
Okay.
Like the guy gives you more than what you could ask for. It just sucks that there are some nights where he'll give you 4 to 6 points, and then there's other nights where he'll get a 15-point double-double. It's like there's no in between. But even on the nights where he sucks offensively, you're seeing spurts. Like the man moves quicker than almost I've ever seen before. So the Rockets, there's hope. There's hope for a rivalry in
Yes.
Texas basketball. I wish that the Rockets were good enough to where I cared when we played the Spurs or the Mavericks. Of course, when we play the Spurs, I'm like, oh, I want to see Wemby. When we play the Mavs, oh my god, I want to see Luka at Toyota Center. But there's no hatred. I hated
Right.
Dirk growing up. But of course, revisionist history almost, like watching the 06 finals, the 11 finals, like seeing the way he played, dude, how could you hate that? I saw Şengün do
Yeah.
a Dirk-esque fade two tonight, and I was like, damn, I love
Yeah.
it. Love this shit.
It took me a while to appreciate Tom Brady as a Miami Dolphins fan.
Right.
Like he had to leave and win in Tampa, and then when he was in Tampa, I was like, all right, this is kind of like he's pretty sick. Like
Yeah.
this is incredible what he does.
Oh my
Um, but it's fuck Bill Belichick and fuck Greg Popovich and everybody else that has dynasties. I don't care about any of
What,
you.
what do you say fuck me for? Damn, dude. Greg Popovich?
Yeah,
No, I shitted on Greg Popovich
5
earlier this year.
titles in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
like childhood. I mean, one of them I didn't really witness because it was 1999. I was too young
right.
to be conscious yet. But um, yeah, I mean, he just kind of ruled for 2 decades or
Sure.
15 years, really 16 years, and it's just like this is brutal, especially when your team's good enough to go to the title or the Western Conference Finals, and all of a sudden you're like matched up with the Spurs super teams, which they
Yeah.
weren't super teams, but they had just played together for so long and they were just so good, so much chemistry and fundamentals, Mr. Fundamental, whatever, dude. Fuck the Spurs, man. I'm bringing back the
How
hatred.
many rings? How many rings does Boris Diaw have? I'm trying to figure that out. Is it three,
And he
two?
can't shoot with his left hand. That's all I know.
God,
He's never once shot a left-handed shot,
that was
like
a
a
great
left-handed
tweet.
layup. It's always been 2 hands at the rim. I don't care.
It's me in the rec league. God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't been able to use my left, but I didn't play basketball.
And I'm not
I was a
Jalen
swimmer.
Brown, so shut up.
Yeah, fuck the Spurs. Speaking of people that give a shit, because you were talking about it, Amen Thompson, Paolo Banchero, former
Yes.
number 1 overall pick for the Orlando Magic, hit a game winner against the Pistons. Which, if you have to hit a game winner against the Pistons, you may need to
Yikes.
look a little bit inward, but he hit it nonetheless. He got fouled and won. It was like 111 to 109 when he hit the shot. In the post game interview, they're asking him about the shot and the game and what it means to him, whatever. He started crying. He dropped 3 F-bombs in the post game interview. And as Bill Simmons would say, he just gives a shit, I don't know what to say, but he just kind of gives a shit.
Yep.
But
I
yeah,
love
shout out
Paul,
to Paolo.
dude.
Like Paolo, he's a number 1 overall pick, and he landed in Orlando, which has been difficult for players to win in. Obviously, Dwight Howard and Shaq led those teams to a finals appearance each, but not a big market. But the fans apparently care enough, and
Oh
he
yeah,
feels the love for the team, and the team's interesting, and he's the leader for it. And so, hitting a game-winning shot, obviously, the emotions are going to come out, but it, as Bill Simmons would say, it shows that he gives a shit. Like it's fun to see
exactly.
basketball players actually give a shit, whereas some people just want to go out and get a paycheck. That's completely fine. That's your job. That is a job, but it's cool
Sure,
to see
sure.
people care.
Yeah, Anthony Rendon,
Yes,
Timothy
looking at you,
Mozgov,
Anthony.
Luau Dang. Um, I it felt good to see people not shit on someone for crying in sports. People loved that Paulo interview, and I think that it really
Yeah.
is just a testament of like this guy's the truth. And I hate that there was a kind of a movement on Twitter about him playing like LeBron. We've talked about it. You almost see it, but in a little like slower way. You know what I
It's
mean?
it's a LeBron light. Like if you turn
Yeah.
the sliders down a little bit and made it
Right.
harder on
Right.
yourself, that's what it
Right.
looks like.
LeBron on Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
When I think of Paulo Banchero, I immediately just the sweats he was getting at Duke, everything he had to go through, just to get drafted, even let alone number 1, but get drafted at all. I mean, the guy was
Mm-hmm.
going through it at Duke, and he was still putting up crazy numbers. And you got to think about it too. That was he was following in the footsteps of Zion at Duke. Imagine the shoes you'd have to fill because that 1 year of Zion at Duke was just nuts. He exceeded expectations, came into the league, wasn't the most efficient his rookie year, but seeing him come out, ever since he got into the league, it's just been this guy is going to be a superstar. He makes mid rangers, he makes threes, he can drive really well. and seeing that all kind of come to fruition. And I hate that it had to be against the Pistons. And weirdly enough, there was kind of a protest online over the gather step. You remember that? Kind of he took
Yeah.
like a weird hop step situation. And I
But
watched the video
it
over.
looked like he got fouled before he got fouled as
Yeah,
well. So there
exactly.
was it was a weird play, but it
Yeah,
was a weird shot. It was very Luca does this shot like 10 times a game because he gets fouled and then they don't call it.
right.
Um,
He just throws it
yeah,
up
he just throws it up kind of weirdly one-handed, like just hoping to get the shot off to get the foul call.
and it went
He
in.
got the foul call, but drained the bucket as well. So
Exactly. Even more
yeah,
impressive.
I love Paolo. I wish he wasn't in Orlando because I would watch him much more if he wasn't. But
Yeah,
he's on
yeah,
a good. I think he's on the right team for him because he's able to be the superstar, be the guy with Franz Wagner, scoring like sharing the scoring load with those two guys, and then also on a team that plays defense very well. So he gets to learn in that system and become a better defender, better all around player. Yeah, I think he's going to be absolutely sick. I mean, he already is, but like in a few years, we might be he's just an automatic first team All NBA guy. I don't know if it's going to be him,
yeah.
but I
Could
mean,
be
25, 7, and 7, like the LeBron kind of number, like he can definitely do it. He has the ability to.
exactly.
If you can get him a real point guard too, whew, it's going
Well,
to be fun.
You got Cole Anthony coming off the bench, and
He's fine. Yeah,
J-
he's good.
Jalen
And Markel
Suggs. Yeah,
Fultz was good when he would play, but obviously it's not happening
yeah,
very often.
yeah.
So, I mean, speaking of Trae Young possibilities, maybe Trae
Talk to
Young
me.
there in Orlando.
Ooh, Trey Young and blue. I don't hate that. I think that would be
He
great for
wouldn't
the
look
team.
bad. He'd look
But no,
fine.
I mean you're seeing okay. You're seeing Jalen Suggs. You're seeing Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, Paulo. They're all making NBA leaps. Do you think that Trey Young would almost interrupt that or enhance that? What's the situation? Is it because he passes the ball a lot, gets 10 plus assists a game? What? Because you can look at it two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's more of just having a guard that knows how to distribute and run an offense. I know Trey obviously chucks up 30-foot threes on a regular basis as
Yeah,
well. Maybe that stops because he has Paolo. I mean, Trey hasn't played with a player that's as good as Franz Wagner
sure,
on his team.
sure.
Like, I mean,
Not
if
that
you
Burton's
really look at his
close. But,
rosters, he just hasn't played with anybody really good. So it'd be interesting to see him play with very good, above average to elite players,
oh yeah,
um, in a big system where defense is prized and put into perspective for players. Like, hey, if you defend well, these opportunities come for you later. Obviously, Jalen Suggs is making a leap this year. Cole Anthony's becoming the second guard off the bench. Like, hey, you're going to be the point guard for the second unit, and
right,
that's been a great role for them. So everybody's filling into their roles. They just need the point guard to help out with just carrying the ball up the court, distributing, spacing the floor out. That's I mean, spacing is another issue with the Magic. They need a little bit more of that. If you
right.
had Trae Young in there, I mean, obviously you have spacing for days, and then you also have a ball distributor who's like number 2 in assists or maybe number 1 in assists in the NBA right now on average. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
10 a
yeah,
game.
that would be cool. But yeah, shout out to Paolo. He gives a shit, as Bill Simmons would say.
He just gives a shit, man. You're gonna see and we, like we mentioned, you're seeing the small market kind of resurgence. I think Orlando's a great fit for an overall like deep playoff team. Just I mean, not maybe now, but assuming they make that next big leap, they can become a top four team in the East. If the Sixers have an off year, if the Celtics have an off year, maybe one of them, God willing,
Yeah,
knocking on wood, doesn't get hurt or gets hurt, but you know the East is for the taking and the Cavs window, I feel like, is not closing per se. But if Donovan Mitchell leaves, which is very, very likely,
yeah,
you're going to see the East become wide open. And there's a, 7.5 game gap between Boston and number two being the Cavs. This is like serious
yeah.
shit.
The
Like,
gap between 1 and 2 is larger than the gap between 1 and 8 in the West on
exactly.
the East side.
Exactly.
So
It's nuts.
yeah, speaking of the East, the Milwaukee Bucks are winning games. Interestingly
Don't
enough,
look now. Don't look now.
yeah. So Doc Rivers returned to Philly today. The Bucks took the win. I don't know, it was 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
Took the win pretty handedly. Pat Bev doing the belt to ass tour to Philly is interesting.
Oof. Right back at you.
Yeah, and I don't. I think it was Pat Bev. I think I saw a clip of Pat Bev talking about it. He's like, "Hey, James Harden goes to the Clippers. They lose 5 straight. they weren't good for 15 games or whatever, and then all of a sudden they just win. Was it 17 out of 19 or 17 out
Yeah,
of
it was
18 or something
ridiculous.
like that? They went on
Yeah,
a tear and they figured it out and they knew how to play together and all that kind of stuff. Not saying Doc Rivers and Pat Bev are James Harden on the Clippers, but sure, it takes time to implement systems and figure things out. And maybe they're starting to get there. Obviously, they have Giannis and Dame, so it's a little bit easier when you have those two guys as your two superstars on your team.
right.
And yeah, I don't know. The Bucks are on a tear, but it doesn't matter who comes out of the East for me. Really, I don't care.
Yeah, you're the best thing about Milwaukee, and the thing that I think is really going to make them, like I mentioned last episode, kind of a deep Miami run. Maybe not the greatest seeding, but a
Right?
situation. And of course, I'm doing a full 180 on the Bucks. I thought they were dead 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we
But then I
both did.
started, but then I started watching, the games. I watched most of the game today. I saw Pat Connaughton making great plays. He was blocking jumpers, getting steals, dishing the ball, and you were seeing glue guys like Brooke Lopez, Malik Beasley, like you're seeing dudes on their team where you immediately think, oh, you put them on somewhere else, they're not going to do shit for you. But then you see them mesh together on that Buck squad, and you're like, damn, maybe this is like sneaky a 55 win team, God willing, when all
Yeah,
is
maybe.
correct. But they have a big ceiling. But also, if it's a failure, it's gonna be they're gonna go down crashing and burning. So it's gonna
Big
be
tree
really
fall
interesting
hard.
to see kind of the last 25 games or so, just seeing how if the Bucks are really gonna figure it out versus having a great weekend, beating Minnesota in Minnesota. You're seeing. I saw B-ball Paul. He got into foul trouble, and I didn't get to see greatness today, but it is what it is. You can't get that every night, but I would have loved to see
Mm.
national TV B-ball Paul go crazy. Seeing Milwaukee beat Philly. I know they're really shorthanded. No Embiid.
Yeah,
Tyrese Maxey being your main ball handler, he's not going to do it for you every time. He didn't play bad today per se. When he has the ball 50 to 100 times a game, it's like you can't do much with that dude. The efficiency is going to be off.
yeah. I watched a lot of the Cleveland Philly game Friday night, maybe Friday or
Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah, Friday night. Um, I watched a good bit of that one, and watching it, I was just like, I don't necessarily get the Tyrese Maxey hype of him being like a
Yeah.
top elite guard and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, with Embiid, he looks different because attention is being drawn to the best player on the court and not
Right.
him. So he's free to be able to do the things that he's really good at because he has more space, he has less eyeballs on him essentially. Um, yeah, him as the main guy, it's not it right now. He can obviously develop into it. He has the traits and the attributes to do it, I would assume. But yeah, I was just watching that Cleveland game, and I was like, Cleveland was just boxing him up, and it's like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are the guys guarding you, and I'm just like, ooh,
It's not a
didn't
good
like
look.
it. I didn't like it.
You put Tyrese Maxey on Charlotte with Grant Williams. You're
P
seeing
fucking
you're
you.
seeing 80 touches a game between the two of them, and you're just seeing the most insane shots being thrown up.
How did we forget about this?
Yeah.
The Warriors and Hornets kerfuffle the other night.
Oh, sure. Please.
Let's do this quickly.
Yes. Yes.
At the end of the game, the Warriors are beating Charlotte. Draymond, I don't know, Miles Bridges was involved. I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
really see what happened, but Grant Williams comes up and Draymond just tells him, it's like, fuck you, boy. Like, that's why you got traded. You can't keep your mouth shut or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Calling him a
that's why you
pussy.
got traded out of Dallas. He called him a foot. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Grant Williams just can't. He just can't shut up. It's like, dude, if you just like didn't say stupid shit and you were good in Charlotte, everyone's be like, hey, look at Grant Williams. Look what he's doing out in Charlotte. Good for him. Maybe Luka's the problem. Luka's
Yeah.
not the problem. Everyone
No.
that comes into Dallas is getting bags and leaving, and then when they go to the other place, they're significantly worse. Shout out to Reggie Bullock in Houston. I know
Yeah.
y'all are loving
One.
that.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
starting power forward for my Dallas Mavericks last season.
1 year, 11
Fuck.
milli for Reggie Bullock. He's maybe getting 2-3 minutes a game, and
Yeah,
he
he's
plays
brutal.
half of the games. It's awesome.
Brutal.
Great way
Yeah,
to spend
but
money.
Grant Williams, Miles Bridges, Draymond Green, everybody getting into it at the end of the Warriors game the other night. And then it goes on to the press conference. Draymond said something very strange and
Yeah.
terrible, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges can do no wrong in my eyes. I think that's all in quotations there. That's not from me in any way, shape, or form. That's
No.
all Draymond
No.
Green. That's what he said.
Yes.
Um, What?
Uh, I have no idea. As soon as I saw this, I was beside myself. And now we can say this because I think the case is closed. I mean, of course, I'll still lead it with alleged.
Yeah, sure.
But what the fuck? This is like I'm not gonna say proven, but a damn near woman beat. This is a woman beater, of course. This
Yeah.
is this is a legit problem person. And Draymond Green of all people says that Miles Bridges cannot do any wrong. Are you fucking kidding me?
You can,
What's the end goal here? What are we doing?
yeah, if you're friends with him and you back him, then that's your own doing. But in a post game press conference in
Public
the
setting.
NBA to one of the second or third largest like league in the entire world, and you're just like, yep, that wife beater, he can do no wrong in my
Oh
eyes,
my
boys and
god.
girls.
Awful.
Um, yeah, like you can back him, you can support him if he's your buddy, whatever. I wouldn't understand it, but if that's your opinion and
Mm-mm.
that's how you feel, then you can do that absolutely all day long. Don't do that in a press conference where everyone's just going to use that as ammunition against you. Not that you needed any more ammunition to be used against you, Draymond Green. You have novels and stories and just books on books of and videotapes, just a whole warehouse of Wi-Fi servers just with all of the
Yeah.
tape of you just being
Gigabytes.
terrible and a menace on the court.
God.
Why are we adding more? Why do we
No.
need to add anything else to that?
Disgusting. Imagine you like Draymond, and this of all things is like, maybe I don't like him now.
Yeah, maybe
I
I
can never
can't like this
imagine.
guy.
Yeah, I can never imagine that being the case, but it makes me wonder is like, someone who may have recently just gotten in the NBA and maybe somehow gotten into his pod without watching basketball. I don't know. And then you see that, and then you look up what all went down with Miles Bridges, and you're like, damn, maybe I can't support this guy after
Yeah,
everything he's done. Oh my god, that was just the
it's like
icing on the cake. Fucking loser, absolute loser.
it's like if you become a Baltimore Ravens fan back in 2011
Yeah,
or so, and you're
yeah.
like, man, Ray Rice, he's my favorite player. He's incredible, and he has this awesome season. You get like 5 months of just incredible running back play. You're like,
Let
Ray
me tell
Rice,
you.
I love this guy, number 27 for the Baltimore Ravens, my favorite player. I'm buying a jersey. And the offseason happens, and the video comes out of the elevator where he punches the girl, and it's
Um,
just like,
mm-mm.
oh,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if I can like Ray Rice anymore. And
yeah.
obviously, Draymond Green didn't punch his wife or girlfriend or anything, but supporting someone that does that, not really.
Yeah,
And I can't defend you on that. And then
yeah.
also with your actions on the court with hitting multiple people and putting people on a chokehold this season, it's like you and Miles practicing in the back. What are we doing here,
No,
boys?
no,
I don't
it's
know.
very on brand, and he's not helping himself at all. I
No.
mean, ever since the league court mandated therapy that he was
Whew.
scheduled to appear in,
Yeah, anger management
absolutely
courses and all
nothing.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
four
worked for like
rings.
a solid week and a half, and the Warriors stunk. And
Yeah,
they're like, "What's wrong with the Warriors?" And everyone's like, "It's because Draymond Green's not being an asshole." I mean, they need him to be an asshole.
just
Which,
immediately.
all right,
Yeah,
yeah,
immediately
no, I
throws up
can't
in
believe we
the
forgot about that. I'm glad we brought up
sure.
Grant Williams and Charlotte. That was fun. Good riddance, bud.
Yep.
Uh oh,
4-0.
brother.
4-0 Charlotte Hornets, at least as of a
Well,
couple days
until they
ago.
lost to the Warriors that night, yeah.
Sure. Oh, true, because you had the end of the
And Grant
season
Williams shot like I think 1 of 13 that night.
all-time vibe guy, NBA PA vice president.
Did you see the Snapchat screenshot of
Yes,
him? Yeah,
yes,
we don't have to talk
yes.
about it, but I just wanted to know if you saw it.
Don't
If
Google it. Do not
yeah,
Google it, please.
don't Google it. If you don't know, just don't go look for it. It's
I didn't
fine.
ask to see it.
Very funny,
Yeah.
just very funny because that's not like a Tennessee picture of Grant Williams. That's an NBA.
Yeah.
He's
Full
either in
body.
Boston or Dallas at this point. I don't know
Yeah.
where, but
Yeah. Head to toe.
either
That
way,
was
very funny.
awesome.
Um, So yeah, that's the show. Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, brought to you by Big City Wings, Houston's wing joint, Apollo's wing joint. Go check out their daily specials today, tomorrow, every day at Big City Wings in the Houston area. And thank you to Celebrity Mint. Go check out celebritymint.com and at the Celebrity Mint on social media to see the graded legal tender collectibles of Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and more. Shout out to Celebrity Mint. Thank you to Big City Wings for sponsoring this episode. This has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast.